Hello everybody, and welcome to the post playthrough follow-up of Hyper Metroid, I guess? I have no idea what I'm going to be naming these things. Basically the follow-up, sort of a review of the hack experience with it. First off, I do want to say I definitely do recommend playing the hack at least once. I think it's a pretty fun hack. I'd imagine you'd have a pretty good time with it too. Something with that though is, your results in terms of enjoying the hack will vary because the type of hack it is. It's an open world hack. There's a lot of places you can go to once you get a few of the basic items. So it opens up a lot of the hack. It allows you to explore. That doesn't actually mean you're going to make a lot of progress though. Even if you explore, you find more missiles, supers, whatever. That could be basically all you find. You might get to a point where, you're feeling like you're doing loops and not getting anywhere with the hack. It definitely does have that potential in it, where it will throw you off and you think you're doing things right or whatever, and even sometimes when you think you're sequence breaking or something, and then suddenly you're not making any progress, you might actually be going out of sequence, but then suddenly, oh hey, here's a door you can't actually pass, or here's a power bomb barrier, you're not going to pass it. So parts like that, you can have some frustrations with the hack, just based on that. Exploration wise, it's not that difficult, and where you're going is where you're going. It's not hard to get places, and the way the world's built, things are connected up. You basically do a giant circle. You go from Criteria to Norfair to Meridia back to Criteria, all that other fun stuff. You've got Wreckship and Brinstar off of Criteria as well, and also off of Norfair and Meridia. The layout is really good. Kind of leads you to at least the end game, and even when you get toward the end, you defeat your last final boss, then it shows up, or your reward for defeating the last final boss is a gate saying, hey, look for these gates now. This is what you have to do before you can finish the game. So that's something that was really good choice with the hack. There were some surprising polish issues, because this is sort of a review, I'm going to get into a little bit of everything, I guess. The polish issues weren't really much to do with the game itself, the gameplay or anything like that. Well, I guess part of it was. For instance, the screw attack. This had no effect on the gameplay or anything, but screw attack, the little electric things, somebody sent me messages, the little electric things were either blue or yellow, and there was no real rhyme or reason to that, and I'm not sure what is up with that. So that was odd, why that was going on. Like, it would have been fine if, hey, the palette in this submap, this entire submap of Norfair is blue in this area, so your screw attack's blue. It's yellow in Meridia, so your screw attack's yellow in that entire submap. But it changes on transitions between rooms sometimes in the same submap, and that was weird. I don't think it was supposed to do that, so I don't know what's going on with that. The second thing is Dragon, and I think this is partly, actually, it might be a project-based thing, it might not be, but Dragon is just weird in this hack. He does some very strange things, so I'm kind of surprised there wasn't a little more time taken to get that ironed out. I know he had the release date or whatever, he's trying to stick with it, but this wasn't for a contest. I don't think it would not have killed anybody to wait a week or a month or so, just to get a better or fixed Dragon in the hack. Yeah, Dragon was really interesting. As far as, there's really not going to be a review of this hack without mentioning the graphics on the hack. Again, graphics, overall on the scale of things that are important to me, graphics are at the very bottom. So this is just, if they look nice, great, whatever. They don't actually do anything in terms of, hey, the game's fun because the graphics look good. So no, the game's fun because the game's fun, not because of the graphics. But the graphics in the hack are really good. The custom tiles that RealRed drew are excellent. He actually made a wreck ship I like. He didn't use enough of his custom tiles in the wreck ship though. Toward like the latter part of the wreck ship that you can get into after Gravity's suit, where most of it was covered in his custom tiles, that was by far the better looking part of the wreck ship. And I think the whole wreck ship should have looked like that. And the project base bubbles, the yellow ones, they look dull, they look like they have no life in them, so that's kind of disappointing. But that wasn't RealRed, that was Grimes in there, because those are project base bubbles. So that was something disappointing with those. Mother Brain seeping all over terrain was pretty cool. But and parts of Meridia. One part just looked like baby puke. Meridia was like, yeah, whatever. The rest of Meridia looked really good. The Kakamar tile set in Norfair looked good. I'm not sure what in the world the mechanical stuff in Norfair was. I think it's supposed to be a geothermal thing, but I don't know. But yeah, again, the graphics looked good. Nothing really special in terms of tiling. Not really any tiling errors, but the tiling itself is just like very vanilla, very normal. Even with this custom tiles, it's still your just vanilla placements. It's not doing anything crazy with it, so that was part of that. Obviously, another big thing with the hack is, it's based on project base. So the physics changes and everything involved with the changes of project base are in this hack. And then a little extra with the addition of Spazer being able to stack with all the other beams, including plasma. So that was really nice, the Spazer add-on. I like that because I'm a big fan of Spazer myself, so I approve of that one. But yeah, the physics changes, again, this could throw people off. Although I do know, I believe it was Elminster who wasn't exactly a fan of Project Base's physics within Super Metroid and Project Base itself. But now that he's played them in a hack, he's more of a fan of them for hacks. So that's something. You may not like Project Base's physics or whatever, but still try out the hack. You might find, sort of like Elminster, that, it's really, it works for hacks. It can work for hacks. So I would still suggest it, even if you don't like the physics for that. And of course, some of the 100% stuff for the hack requires some of the project-based speed booster stuff. So that is something else. Depending on how much you like things or are willing to go through stuff, you will try for those or won't. But it's not going to break the game either way. You don't need this stuff, so it's not going to hurt you to skip it. The difficulty overall, it really was not a difficult hack. In really any way. The enemies aren't that difficult. It's not that difficult to explore. I would say, it's definitely, just because it's a new game, it'll probably be a little harder than the original Super Metroid when you start out. But overall, I think it's going to end up being sort of about the same difficulty. You'll probably think of it about the same as this original Super Metroid. I mean, I kind of prefer things that are more difficult myself. But, this is an easy hack to get into. I know RealRed was trying to make it so, even though it's an open world, you can go places. He's trying to make it so that enemies kind of warned you, hey, maybe you shouldn't be here. I do not think that worked. It didn't work for me anyway. There were a lot of enemies that, I could tell they were stronger, my beam couldn't hurt them, but hey, pseudo screw attack works, so I have no problem with it. Or, I have my ammo I can use. Again, no problem, I've got this stuff, I'll use it. These enemies aren't destroying me in one hit, like Eris or something like that, so, they're not really a deterrent for me in that case, so. It didn't really work for me in that sense, it didn't feel like something that really pushed me away from that area before I should be there anyway, so I don't know, it may work for some, it didn't work for me. And then the exploration itself, I could see that being potentially a big issue, and it has been a big issue for some people who've played it already. Where, you can go around on this hack, making loops, going everywhere, maybe finding a pickup or two, but not actually getting anywhere in terms of progress. So, that is something that could happen. And if it does, it's really unfortunate. Because there's really not much anybody can do about that, because hey, it's your experience with the hack, and if that's how it is, I guess that's how it is. So that's kind of the unfortunate thing with hacks like this. It's an open world, and that's why he tried to put these tougher enemies in spots. Say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be here yet. Which again, I don't think the enemies work. They didn't work for me. I mean, they might for other people, but they didn't really do that for me. And some of the, I guess, subversion of expectations as to where stuff would be, what items, what bosses, that, because there's a subversion, I could see that throwing people off too. They'll be looking through other areas instead of actually going to where they need to be. So that's something else about the hack that could potentially be a pretty big downer. The best thing about the hack, by far, is the ammo system. And I'm going to say this right now, probably every hack should have this ammo system. It is easily the best thing. Basically, if you're just watching this for some reason and haven't seen any of the other videos or anything, the ammo system is basically a shared ammo system. I almost said screw attack. Your missiles, your super missiles, your power bombs all share the same pool of ammo. So when you collect a missile, you still get 5 ammo. It's like, great. You collect a super missile, you get 10 ammo added to the pool. You collect a power bomb, you get 15 ammo added to the pool. And then missiles use 1 ammo to use, supers use 10 to use, power bombs use 20 to use. So that ammo system in this hack, definitely the best thing about it. Really, really hope to see a lot of hacks using that in the future. That is the one thing from this hack I definitely would put in other stuff. It's really good. And the reason is, it makes missiles still a really good find. Because missiles only use 1 ammo, they're, I guess, cheap and expendable, whatever. But finding a missile still feels good because your supers and power bombs use 10 and 20 respectively. So they use a lot more ammo comparatively. So when you find a missile, you add 5 more ammo to that total pool, which helps you be able to use more supers, helps be able to use more power bombs. It's a really cool thing. I know it's been talked about for a while. It's really great to see it in a hack finally. And it's amazing. I love this ammo system. definitely, if you're thinking of working on a hack, start with that. Get that going and work with it, because that is the greatest thing. Otherwise, I guess I don't really have much else to say about the hack. The ammo system's really cool. I thought it was fun. It's on the easier side. I wish it was... I would have liked something more difficult, honestly. That's why Z Factor is still my favorite hack, partly because it's more difficult. And yeah, the exploration thing, if you haven't played it, that can go either way. You might stumble across everything you need in order, not likely, but you might get to the things you're looking for much faster than I did or other people did. You might only be looping around looking for one major upgrade or something like that. So yeah, the results with this hack will vary because of that. But in the end though, I do definitely recommend it. I think RealRed should send a thank you note to Grime, because I think a lot of this hack works because of Project Base. You know, I think that's why it feels really fresh compared to some other hacks maybe. Because, you know, it does use these newer physics or whatnot. And these aren't slow physics like Redesign. I mean, Redesign's physics don't really feel fresh. They feel like a burden. These physics, well, you may not like them, and again, I still prefer the vanilla physics. These physics still, you know, they're faster. They don't feel like they're slowing you down. They don't feel like a weight on your shoulders. You know, you're able to move around and do stuff, so that plus, you know, already changed palettes and stuff with tile sets. You know, I think a lot of the good in this hack, you know, was a lot of it, I think, was due to Grime and his work on Project Base in the first place. So that is something else to mention is, you know, if you are thinking of making a hack, you might want to consider using Project Base. You know, again, with some of the features and the physics changes, you know, it's still not everyone's favorite. It's not going to please everyone, but, you know, it's not a bad idea to at least consider it. You know, it would be something different, or maybe you've made some hacks in the past. You know, it might be interesting to try making a hack with Project Base and just seeing how it turns out, how it feels. It might be worth trying that out just to see, so again, that was a lot of work put into that by Grime for Project Base, and then I know RealRed did a pretty good job with his hack in general here too. So something else I want to mention, you know, there weren't really any difficult items to find. You know, I didn't 100% it in my playthrough. No, I found 100% later, but it's kind of disappointing. Again, you know, I like things a little bit harder. I like to have a little challenge. And the fact there were no, like, difficult items to get, like, even just looking for them. Like, if you just sort of go over the world, you're going to find stuff. And there's not much that's going to stump you in terms of, you know, I'm missing an item. Where in the world is it? Where is the secret? How do I get this thing? And I kind of disappointed in that. And there wasn't much. I can only remember one item off the top of my head where, like, it's on the other side of the wall. You can't reach this yet. I guess Wave Beam technically filled with maybe 2 for me, because I found Wave Beam later. Or maybe I didn't. I guess Wave Beam could fill that hole, but you could, like, see an item, but you can't reach it yet. See, those I really like in hacks. You know, you have to go around. With Wave Beam, it's in the same room. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to have the equipment to get to it. And then there was a super missile I found which I basically went one room over and was able to get it. So the difficulty in collecting items or finding items or whatever, it's not there in this hack, which might be a good thing for players. So, you know, hey, we can find items, we can beat this, it's going to be slightly easier, yay! I guess that might be a thought process, but I do like to have some fun finding stuff, so unfortunately that's not a thing in this hack. But otherwise, the Mossy wreck ship, really good. I was doing a comment because it actually made the wreck ship look good. While I'm on the wreck ship, I will mention that save station after Fan 2 not working, while the other save station in the powered off wreck ship still working. I still don't get that. You know, it sort of would have worked in the hack, in the world of the hack, had the other save station not worked. But you couldn't do that because he had that save station unreachable before Fan 2. You have to have gravity suit or whatever, which I guess technically you could get, but that's not going to be a thing that players do, so normally. But yeah, I guess in the end, you know, really, really fun hack. Do recommend it. And it's pretty high up there. It's definitely not my favorite. I still really like Z Factor. Because again, that one had more challenge. You know, the items funner to get. It uses the vanilla physics. Which again, I don't mind the project-based physics. I still prefer the vanilla physics, so that plays a part into it. And you know, it's... sometimes I think the hack takes itself too seriously. Like, you know, a lot of the hacks I like, a lot of the funner hacks are sort of goofy and out there, like searching for items and Oxide, maybe even Angry Fire Chozo. They're just silly. This one with his change story and whatever, I think it was probably a little bit too serious for its own good. I know it's kind of a story he wanted to tell in a way, but yeah, I don't think. I think it could have used some more fun stuff in it. But I guess I'm sort of out of things to say, which everyone's probably very thankful for. And I guess that's it for Hyper Metroid. There may be a bonus video or two I'll be putting together, you know, with the last items I didn't collect. I might show a video of me collecting the rest of the items. So we'll see if that happens, but in the end, I do recommend it. Give it a shot. Try it out. I think you'll enjoy it, but I'm not going to guarantee that. Like, because again, well, everybody's different, so it's not use guaranteeing anything. So anyway, that's going to be it for the, I guess, review of Hyper. And hopefully I plan on doing this for all the hacks in the future now, so we'll see how that goes.